Today's Legal on 4. Have you ever loaned anyone in your family money and never spoken to them again because they didn't pay it back? There's an old saying, never lend money to family or friends, but if you have to, there are legal steps you can take to avoid problems later on. Our legal contributor, Craig Wisdom, joins us now, and you say, write it down.
Absolutely. Now, I can't necessarily avoid the problems that come with loaning money to a family member or friend, but you can at least avoid some legal issues and avoid unnecessary arguments by having it in writing. If you're loaning something to a family member, have them sign a simple, call it a promissory note, a note that says, I promise to pay you back the $10,000. That alone can avoid a lot of arguments later on.
And what that serves at is proof that you loaned it, and when you go to get it back, if you have to take legal measures, you have some kind of...
Exactly. And genuinely, even in most of these cases, we're probably not talking about having to go out and sue your family member, but at least you avoid the argument about, was it a gift, was it a loan? If you're giving something to a family member, it doesn't help to say, you know, the $10,000 I gave Johnny was a gift. If it's a loan, make sure it's written down that way. It not only avoids issues between you and, say, the child you're loaning money to, but later on after someone dies, it can avoid issues with the siblings about, gee, that was a gift, that was a loan, you have to pay it back, you don't have to pay it back.
And you should include all pertinent information on that piece of paper, like if you want it paid back in a year or if there's interest.
Exactly. It's kind of a relative scale. Better to have something in writing saying it's a loan than nothing. But best to have the terms, which are, is there going to be any interest on it, and when does it have to be paid back? Even lawyers, when we get done with a note, it's normally not more than 1 page long, so it's a relatively simple document, but something in writing makes such a difference.
Future issues, what can become future issues?
Well, as I said, we see them in our business as probate attorneys. Someone dies and they say, gee, I think they loaned my brother money. And there can become an argument about, was it a loan or was it a gift? If it's a gift, then it has nothing to do with how an estate's divided up. If it's a loan, then it might be something they have to have paid back, or it might be something that gets charged against their share of the estate. Also, sometimes people might want to make it a loan, but they also might want to say in their will, I forgive that at my death. Once I die, it goes away, you don't have to worry about it. If you want it paid back, put that in the will. Again, just having a simple little statement avoids disagreements and confusion.
And you say there are also IRS implications.
There are. People normally wouldn't be aware of this, but the IRS actually says if you loan money to a family member and you don't charge them a certain minimum interest rate, they can charge income tax to you for the interest you would have been paid had you charged a reasonable rate of return. No, absolutely. Now, there's some exceptions for this. Generally, if it's below $10,000 total loans to a person, you don't have to worry about it. And even if it goes up to $100,000, there are certain exceptions depending on whether the person who's borrowing the money has investment income or not. They're trying to avoid people shifting income from the wealthy father to the maybe not so wealthy child by loaning the money that they invest.
Interesting.
But it's a real issue, and if people are loaning bigger amounts, they might get caught by that in the IRS, and I bet they don't know that.
Yeah. I guess the only thing that's going to be the sticky point is telling your dad or your mom or your child that I'm going to write this down, we're going to do a contract kind of thing. That can make for some bad feelings.
It can, although unlike certain things we've talked about like premaritals, there's normally the person coming to them and saying, I really need to borrow money. So they're the one bringing this up to begin with. So if you decide to make that loan, which is another issue, but if you decide to do it, say, well, my lawyer says I have to write it down.
There you go.
Blame me.
Blame the lawyer.
Yes.
All right, Craig, thank you so much. Appreciate it.